idea. Now, last night on the program, we revealed a criminal conspiracy that could well have altered the result of our upcoming state election. It was in the form of fraudulent documents targeting MP Chris Hanna, who holds a marginal seat. Now, because police lack the powers to investigate this type of political corruption, the culprits remain at large, and the case, as many see it, is another example of why we need an independent crime commission in South Australia. The Premier insists there's no need, but one of the police standing firm is Senator Nick Xenophon, who's urging Mike Rann to think again. I spoke with Nick a short time ago. Well, Nick, thank you very much, firstly, for coming in. The Premier yesterday flatly denied making nasty comments about you to Labor colleagues. Can we trust his denials on this? Look,
I suppose that's politics, and I guess what I've heard from his Labor colleagues is different from what he said, but look, I want to move on from that.
Well, as he said as well, there are certainly going to be things that you disagree on and things that you agree on, but one thing you certainly do disagree on is the need for an independent corruption watchdog in SA. Why do we need one here?
Well, it's absolutely essential. We do not have an independent commission against corruption. We need one. There are independent commissions against corruption in Queensland, in New South Wales, in Western Australia. Tasmania's going to have one. Victoria and South Australia are the odd states out. And we know that in the absence of an independent commission against corruption, things happen that shouldn't happen. There are dodgy dealings, things that shouldn't happen in a democracy occur, and you need the protection of an independent commission for the public good, for taxpayers, and to ensure that the corrosive effect of corruption doesn't seep through society.
And that certainly was highlighted in a story that we had last night, a second attempt to damage a politician with fraudulent documents. This is, again, evidence that we do have a problem.
The story involving Chris Hanna, the independent member for Mitchell, is very, very disturbing. Clearly, there has been a dirty tricks operation here. We don't know who's behind it, but they wanted to drag in the Attorney-General in terms of falsely implicating the Attorney-General. It would have had the effect of damaging Chris Hanna if he relied on those documents. It is a case, a classic case. It's proof of an independent commission against corruption being needed, because without an independent commission against corruption, we won't be able to get to the truth of this sort of dirty trick campaign that could well have influenced the outcome of the election.
Because, of course, police don't have the power to tackle these sorts of crimes, but again, the Attorney-General just tells us we don't need an ICAC.
Look, that's wrong, because right now the police have one hand tied behind their back in dealing with corruption. You really need to have a dedicated anti-corruption watchdog. If you don't have the powers of an independent commission, you don't have the powers of people being able to knock on doors to find out who was behind this very serious dirty tricks campaign, then these sorts of things will continue to occur.
A truly independent one wouldn't, I guess, be answerable to the government of the day. Do you think this is the problem here, that the Premier perhaps dislikes the loss of control?
Look, I can't understand why the government doesn't want to have a local anti-corruption body. The Premier wants to have a national anti-corruption body. That's good, but that won't solve the problem, because that's really stalling what we really should have, because a national corruption body will be eastern states focused. It won't give South Australia the attention it deserves, particularly in relation to grassroots levels of corruption, involving planning, involving a whole range of issues. These are the sorts of things that ICACs, local ICACs, do best.
Well, we're certainly not less corrupt than any other states, as the Premier also suggests.
Well, it's a bit like Donald Rumsfeld, the former US Defence Secretary. He talked about known knowns and known unknowns and unknown knowns. I mean, how do you know unless you actually have a body in place that can make a difference?
And do you think it will be an election issue?
It clearly is an election issue, and my plea to the Premier is it's not too late. 2.5 weeks to the election, it's not too late to say it's best to have a local ICAC, not a national ICAC, which won't work, and it won't be too late. And the Premier will get credit for that. But right now, we have very serious allegations involving Chris Hanna in terms of he could have been set up in terms of a dirty tricks campaign. Very unfair on Chris, and it's important that we get to the bottom of what happened there.
Obviously, a definite need for one. Nick, thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure.